Hello, and welcome to Guild Wars 2. I'm your host, the Naked Char. Welcome to World vs. World Boot Camp. How do I get into World vs. World? Well, you can go to Lion's Arch, navigate to the Fort Mariner area, where there's a bunch of portals where you can enter either PvP or any of the various World vs. World maps. Or you can press B and enter any given World vs. World map just about anywhere. Alright, now we're in World vs. World. You'll notice there's a place called Edge of the Mists, also known as EOTM. This boot camp won't go into specific detail on EOTM, but EOTM is basically a World vs. World interim that, if I'm not mistaken, was actually created due to certain servers that had extremely long queue times in World vs. World. In EOTM, there will never be a queue time. It's similar to PvE in the respect that overflow maps will continually be generated as needed. Also, if, say for example, you're on the red team, the people you will be playing with on said red team in EOTM aren't necessarily from your home world. Anybody who's on the red team could be from any home world that is red for that week. Same for blue and green. You'll also notice there are 3 Borderlands maps, also known as BL. There's a green BL, a red BL, a blue BL. Then there's the Eternal Battlegrounds, also known as EB. In Eternal Battlegrounds, or EB, essentially each of the 3 teams has their own territory, or turf, if you will. The red team spawns up here, and this is the red team territory. The green team spawns down here, and this is the green team territory. And the blue team spawns down here. And this is the blue team's territory. Smack dab in the middle of all 3 of these territories is Stone Mist Castle. It's the only castle in all of World vs. World. Next, let's evaluate the information bar at the top of our screen. You'll notice right here on mine it says plus 270. In the middle there's a timer. This timer will continually be counting down for 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, this score, or points per tick, also known as PPT, will be added to your team's overall score. So, if nothing were to change from this exact moment, in approximately 9 minutes, plus 295 points would be added to my team's score. Here you'll notice a little icon of a barrel and a number. Right now I have 0. This is to indicate how much supply you have on your person. That being said, supply is key. Supply is the lifeblood of World vs. World. You need it to defend, you need it to offend, you need to build siege, upgrade, repair. Supply really is key and the lifeblood. It's the wheels that made World vs. World go round. Okay, so where do I get supply? From supply camps. These icons. In each of the area's territories for EB, each team has 2 in their territory. These 2 in the red territory, these two in the blue territory, and these two in the green territory. You can walk to a camp that your team owns and pick up natively up to 10 supply. Also, supply is ran to your towers, keeps, or the castle, depending on what you own, by these supply dulyaks. Supply dulyaks will walk from supply camps to structures you own. They have specific paths and drop off supply. There will then be supply in a supply depot that your player may also pick up from fortifications such as the tower, the keep, or the castle. But I recommend against this unless you absolutely need it, because it's better to leave it there for upgrades and repairs or imminent defense. It's best, if you can, to pick up for your supply for your character at a supply camp. You will also notice these flag icons. These are sentries. You want to remain friendly with these sentries in your Dulyak's path, because they will attempt to protect the Dulyak if they are friendly. If they are not, of course, if one of the other teams makes friends with said sentry, they would actually attack your Dulyak, therefore hindering supply from being delivered from your camps to your fortifications. Furthermore, in Eternal Battlegrounds, EB, there are mercenary camps, also known as merc camps. These are groups of NPC mobs that will help you either take or defend supply camps. In this area, you have the ogres, which, as you can see, indicated by these blue swords, they are friends, if you will, with the blue team. The ogres will help with Panglos and Umberglade. Over here you have the Dredge. The Dredge will help with Spelden and Rogue's Quarry. As you can see, there are actually no swords here at all. So at this point, nobody is friends, if you will, with the Dredge. And they also cannot be taken to be friends. When a merc camp is available to become friendlied, they will have no color, or be this sort of gray, as you see right here. And this merc camp that we're currently on is the Hylic. As you can see, they're not really friends with any of the teams, and teams can go there to compete to see who's going to make friends, if you will, with these Hylic. The Hylic will help with Daneland and Golanta. Okay, so I currently have no supply. I should go get my 10 supply, since we have already established just how important supply is. Let's take a walk down to Panglos and get some supply.
Buster.
As you can see, here is a Dulyak who is going to go and deliver supply to this tower and the keep. They do walk extremely slow, and if you do have a skill that shares swiftness, you can speed them up. At least a little bit. Here is the friendly sentry that, should anything be threatening the Dolyak, he would attempt to at least save it. If an enemy team made friendly with the sentry, he would attack it. Okay, we have arrived at the Pangloss camp. You will see a bunch of crates marked Supply Depot. Here, you can take 10 supply.
What brings you here?
Okay, now that we have 10 supply, what exactly can we do with supply? It did a whole lot. With supply being so important, you can see that it may be necessary and important to take the role of escorting Dolyaks to structures so that they safely get there. And it could be even helpful to kill enemy Dolyaks. Travel to an enemy's territory and kill their Dolyaks to hinder their supply lines. Siege. There are flame rams, arrow carts, ballistas, catapults, trebuchets, and alpha siege golems. Flame rams are the most basic siege, and they are primarily meant for destroying gates. Arrow carts have the primary function of anti-personnel. They can destroy other siege, but they will not do damage to gates or walls. Arrow carts make excellent AoE weapons, as their AoE will hit up to 50 enemy players simultaneously. Ballistas. A ballista's primary function is to destroy other siege or another single target. Ballistas can be used for anti-personnel, but to get the most damage, you'll have to get a direct hit. Catapults. Catapults' primary use is for the destruction of walls. They will also damage gates, but they do deal more damage to walls. Catapults can also be used to destroy other siege, and in terms of anti-personnel, they will deal and interrupt. They're not the greatest for anti-personnel, but they will give you that interrupt. Trebuchets. Trebuchets, similar to catapults, are primarily used to destroy walls. They will do damage to gates, same as catapults, but they do more damage to walls. Trebuchets can also be used to destroy other siege equipment. And in terms of anti-personnel, trebuchets are better than the catapult because you can switch over and start flinging diseased cows, which will deal DOT, damage over time, poison to enemy players. Then you have the Alpha Siege Golem. The Alpha Siege Golem is only meant for destroying gates. Can be used for anti-personnel, but it's not very effective at that. I will warn you, they may look very tough, if not indestructible, but they are actually killed by enemy players quite easily. Alpha Siege Golems are also the only mobile siege. That is, flame rams, arrow carts, ballistas, catapults, and trebuchets, once placed, cannot be moved. The Alpha Siege Golem is the only mobile siege.
Goodbye.
Superior versions of this siege can be made in the Mystic Forge or purchased at the Black Lion Trading Company. In order to manufacture superior versions of siege, you go to the Mystic Toilet and you combine regular copies multiple regular copies of blueprints with Siege Master Guides, which are an item you can purchase with skill points from Miani or the Mystic Forge attendant, along with mithril ore and elderwood logs. The difference between the regular and superior, which technically is the alpha or omega siege golems, is while the alpha can essentially only attack gates, the omega, or the superior version of the golem, can actually attack walls, because the omega golem does have a projectile. Alright, now that we know more about supply and siege, it's time to either defend or offend. Or again, you can always roam around and protect your Doliacs to make sure they succeed in delivering supply. Or you can go to an enemy's territory and attempt to kill their Doliacs so you can hinder their supply. But for purposes of the boot camp, we're going to use our own tower so that we don't have to actually fight and all that nice crap. So, flame ramps. Say you want to take a tower or a keep or whatever other kind of fort through the gate. You want to use a flame ramp. You use the flame ramp, and then as you can see, your character is actually holding the blueprint box in his hands. You can either use number 1 to deploy it, or number 2 if you want to cancel. And using number 2 will actually put it back in your inventory. So say you want to beat down a gate, number 1 to deploy, and then as you can see, it puts up an AoE ring so that you can tell it exactly where you want it. So even though this will be a complete waste, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one to show you. Then you can stand over the blueprint, and as you can see, this action would make me build this ramp, and that would spend from the 10 supply that I currently have. So let's go ahead and do that. So the players offending or attacking would go ahead and build up this ramp, and then once built, use it to beat down this gate. I spent all my supply on building that ramp for tutorial purposes, so I'm going to go get 10 more supply. There, I now have 10 supply again. So as you see, supply is necessary for building siege, and siege can be used offensively or defensively. Another way into fortifications, such as towers or keeps, are walls. As you can see, some walls cannot be clicked on or targeted. These walls are not able to take damage or be knocked down. However, walls that can be targeted can take damage and be knocked down, so that you can breach the structure. An example of penetrating one of these structures would be via a catapult. So you can toss a catapult blueprint, and then have your party or your team go ahead and build that catapult, and then take down that wall. Similarly, you can build trebuchets. Now, of course, trebuchets also have a much greater distance than catapults. So, you could use this trebuchet once built from this location to catapult down even multiple walls and or gates simultaneously. Oh, I'm out of supply again. Give me one moment while I protect my yak. As you can see, supplied Dolyaks are actually in danger from certain mobs that will sporadically spawn to threaten it as well. Okay, so we've deployed flame rams, catapults, and trebuchets. So what do you do when you finally breach a structure that you're offending or assaulting? Regardless of whether other players are defending or not, there is a guild claiming NPC, also known simply as Claimer. You must kill this NPC to remand control of the fort. Once this NPC dies, a circle will appear, and the team must stand in the circle for a brief duration to make the structure become theirs. As you can see, this structure is mine. So, if another team were here, it would be my job to defend this structure to make sure they don't get it. So, I could use siege such as a ballista, or an arrow cart. These are great defensive pieces of siege. Also, say there was a group of enemy attackers outside trying to take this place and they're dealing massive damage to the gate and or any of the walls. As you can actually see, this wall happens to be damaged, even though there's nobody currently here. It's still damaged from a previous assault attempt. You can use your 10 supply from your person, go up to the structure and hit repair, and you will repair that in effort to keep them out. So, say the enemy does get in, and say they succeed in killing this Claimer NPC. If I'm here and I so happen to be alive, I can actually resurrect the Claimer that they have killed to make the circle disappear. Then they have to kill the Claimer again. I know I appear to be doing exactly what I've said not to, but I do know there's a supplied Dolyak that is about to return. And I've made an exception for this boot camp. Okay, so if I were to sit here all night waiting for somebody to come attack it from an enemy team, I would probably get really bored really quickly. So, how do I know when something is under attack without having to sit there? The white swords, like the ones I'm pointing out right here, Those indicate that the structure is currently under attack. As you can see, our keep currently has white swords. That means it's currently under attack. Where I'm at right now, it is not under attack. Also, if there's a group of 25 or greater players who are in combat mode, a set of orange swords will appear. I don't see any group battles of 25 or greater currently, but they're unmistakable, and you will definitely know them when you see them. Okay, so I want to make this place harder to break into. So, I own it. We can do some upgrades. Again, I don't recommend taking supply from here unless you imminently have to. As you see right now, this structure has 275 of a capacity of 275. Now, back to those upgrades. Every fortification or structure or objective has an upgrades NPC. Simply talk to the upgrades NPC to order an upgrade. As you can see for this tower, you can reinforce the walls, reinforce the gates, fortify the tower, which fortifies the walls, build a pot of oil, build a cannon, build a mortar, hire a second worker, hire additional guards, raise guard level, hire an outfitter, hire a siege master, and hire a patrol. Now this oil, cannon, and mortar are actually pieces of siege that are static, cannot be relocated, part of the structure. Here's the oil, for example. If a group of attackers came to attempt to assault this place utilizing flame rams and failed to destroy this before doing so, I could dump a bunch of burning hot lava on it. Oil, rather. This is very detrimental to flame rams. So of course players will normally destroy this prior to putting up rams. But when they forget, it's great. Cannons. Here's a cannon. Great for anti-personnel. Has 3 different skills. A normal damaging shot, one that will include a DOT, or damage over time, bleeding effect, and one that will cause chill. The cannon does have pour oil and pour tar. So you can pour oil to cause burning and pour tar to cause cripple. Unfortunately, this tower doesn't currently have a mortar. But the mortar is usually located somewhere near the claimer room. The mortar is great for distance anti-siege. Doesn't do very well against structures such as walls or gates. Doesn't do very well against personnel either. So what else can I do to help this structure? I own this structure. I want to do everything I can to defend and hold it, correct? I do upgrades, build siege and defend, repair walls and gates. Well, I can also talk to the claimer.
There are a lot of travelers lately.
And a guild can claim it by talking to the claimer. There's a series of additional perks you can get by claiming it if you build and activate those by claiming. Such examples are power increase, precision increase, toughness increase, vitality increase, fortitude, which will increase maximum health by 10%, a healing increase that causes healing skills to be 10% more effective. Quickness, which will increase players by the structure's movement speed by 5%. Transporter, which will allow supply capacity of players to increase by 5. Salvage, which is a rare loot chance increase by 10%. And Fortified Training, experience from kills increased by 10%. So, this World vs. World 4+5 supply. If I were to activate this, for example, World vs. World 4+5 supply, and then actually claim this location, players would be able to then go to this supply depot inside of this tower and then pick up 15 instead of only 10. In World vs. World, you will earn a special World vs. World currency, if you will, called Badges of Honor. Badges of Honor can be used to purchase Siege and various pieces of gear. You'll have to take a look at the various NPCs around spawn to see what you can spend your Badges of Honor on. Also, you will get world experience through playing various things, doing various things in World vs. World. And as you gain world experience, which is also actually this very small gray bar at the top, if you've noticed, will cause you to rank. When you rank up, you get a rank point. Rank and rank points are a 1-to-1 ratio. So as you see, I'm currently ranked 1,127. I currently have 1,127 rank points to spend. This is a list of rank abilities. You can take the rank points that you earn from ranking from world experience and increase your capabilities through these abilities. You actually can eventually max all of them out. If I'm not mistaken, that costs 1,390 rank points in order to maximize all of these abilities. Also, a couple of additional notes. If you do die in World vs. World, there's a 5-minute resurrection timer. That means for a period of 5 minutes, you can hang around dead and attempt to get and wait for a resurrection. Or, at the end of that 5 minutes, you will be forcefully sent back to your spawn waypoint.
I'm wounded. Head down.
As you see, I just intentionally died, and I have a respawn timer, 5 minutes. I can hang out here dead, and I have up until 5 minutes to get a resurrection. If I don't get resurrected within the 5 minutes, I'll be automatically teleported by the game back to the waypoint at my team's spawn. Also, while laying here dead, I can choose a different waypoint to go to. Say, for example, if my keep had a waypoint, I could use it right now. Also, there are 4 different World vs. World jumping puzzles. 3 of them are technically identical, so there are only 2 that are different. The Borderlands all have a jumping puzzle And of course, since they are the same map, they are all in the same location. The entry to the jumping puzzle for the Borderlands can be found by the Northwest Camp. You simply continue north along the road from the Northwest Camp. That would be a separate tutorial. The Eternal Battlegrounds jumping puzzle, now also known as Obsidian Sanctum, has a gate that you can enter from any of the keeps. Every one of the keeps in Eternal Battlegrounds, this one, and this one, all have a water gate or a lower area gate that you can enter. Or you can now also go directly to the Obsidian Sanctum from your B menu. Also, in World vs. World, if you are not level 80, World vs. World is the only place where you will be dynamically leveled up to level 80. So if you come in here as a level 20, you will be dynamically leveled up to 80. Now, the nitty-gritty of scoring, points, and weekly reset. Matches reset every Saturday at 0100 or 1 a.m. UTC GMT, which equates to Friday at 2000 hours or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is Friday at 1700 hours or 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or Friday 2100 hours 9 p.m. Daylight Savings Time, or Friday at 1800 hours 6 p.m. Daylight Savings Time. Nonetheless, matches reset every Saturday at 0100 1 a.m. UTC GMT. Edge of the Mists differs from World vs. World in the respect that its matches don't reset once per week. It's a series of very short matches. EOTM resets every 4 hours. And instead of the tick being every 15 minutes, in EOTM, the point tick is every 5 minutes. As you can see, camps are worth 5 points. Towers are worth 10 points. Keeps are worth 25 points. And the castle is worth 35 points. So, for example, my PPT for my team right now is plus 240. If we don't gain or lose anything, in about 4.5 minutes, plus 240 will be added to my team overall score. Also, you'll notice as your team gains World vs. World points, your server will gain PvE bonuses. That's indicated by this bar and these bonuses. As you see, my 5-minute timer expired, and I have now automatically been sent to the waypoint at my team spawn. One more bonus to speak of is in the Borderlands map. There is a bonus that can be achieved from the Borderlands. There's a point here, 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 and here. If you hold 3 of these 5 points for 2 minutes, your team will get a Bloodlust buff. One more thing worth noting is breakout. If your team is doing particularly bad, or if you at least don't own the tower nearest your spawn, there is a feature called breakout. So as you can see on this enemy BL, we do not own this tower, so the feature will be available. Here, you can see a commander NPC, Siege Razor. As you can see, players 1 of 5. If you collect 5 players by this NPC commander, he will escort you, along with some siege and a Diliac and some supply, in an attempt to take this tower. This breakout option is available on just about any map. Waypoints do not cost in World vs. World, so you can traverse freely. The BL maps are significantly larger, and ideally a server will own and maintain its entire Borderlands map for the entirety of the match. EV is much smaller and much more compacted. And again, each of the server teams have their own turf or territory. This one being the red territory, this one being the blue territory, and this one being the green territory, with the Stone Mist Castle being smack dab in the middle of all 3 territories. Ideally, a server team will own at least its territory before venturing out to steal other people's territory. That's about all I have for you right now in this boot camp. I hope you have a better understanding now of World vs. World, and I hope you enjoy yourself.